We're doing this.
Drinking with Authors may contain adult content. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome, everyone, to Drinking with Authors. Tonight's episode is going to be a lot of fun. We spent a lot of time in the green room before hitting that record button. I am your host, as always, Nick Savage. And yes, I am drinking gin tonight. Just straight gin, not even tonic. It's going to be a fun fucking episode. This episode, as all episodes, are brought to you by Four Horsemen Publications. Check them out at Four Horsemen Publications. That's the number fourhorsemenpublications.com. Joining us tonight, we have author A.E. Lemercier and her narrator, Tyler Locks. I want to welcome both of you to the show. So cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
I am starting only because I know his is interesting and hers she won't even tell me. So I'm going to start with you, Tyler. What are you drinking?
I have an infused beverage by You Betcha. It is a jasmine lemon green tea.
If they're not legal in your state, please do not drink them. If they are illegal in your state, go buy them because infused beverages are great.
Sounds delicious.
And AE, what are you drinking tonight? You wouldn't
So
tell me.
I am drinking a mock old fashioned. It is made with a bourbon cask black tea, bitters, simple syrup, and the bar cherries are the most important part. Normally I'm a wine drinker. I really like Italian wines, but my main character of my series that we're going to be talking about is a recovering alcoholic, so I figured I would delve into the very exciting world of mocktails tonight.
Okay, so no, and I understand that. I get a lot of authors who drink what their characters drink, which is great. One of the choices you were going to drink, though, and I want to talk about this because I discovered this drink at the start of 2020 for New Year's Eve when I had my my Roaring 20s party. You may have been drinking, and you chose not to, something called a bee's knees. Can you?
Yes, the alcoholic version is usually gin, honey, lemon. I like the versions that have lavender in them. So you get kind of the botanicals of the gin and the lavender with the honey and the lemon. I love all of those things. And sometimes people put fizz in it.
Fizz just adds a level of texture, we shall say. Yeah. Mouthfeel, excitement. I think is the proper term. Yes. And that is a Prohibition era drink for anyone who doesn't know that. So since, the world's going to shit anyways, bring back the Roaring 20s in all of its glory and try a bee's knees. Your drink also, Tyler, has lavender in it, you said, right?
Jasmine.
Close. I was close. No. It's a botanical of some sort.
I love jasmine flavor.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I know jasmine. And for whatever reason, right now my brain is going, it's a color. And I'm like, it's not a fucking color.
Flower?
It's
it's
good, though.
Flower?
It's a scent in candles.
Yes.
That's what I'm thinking of. I don't know if I've ever actually eaten jasmine or drinking jasmine, but it sounds like something that'd be good. I love rose. I love lavender. Yep. Jasmine sounds good.
Right on path with that, like an elderflower.
Oh, I love elderflower. Yes. Have you ever had elderflower liqueur, the Saint Germain?
Oh, yes. Oh, it's delicious.
A little of that and something bubbly.
A little of that over ice.
Mm-hmm. A Hugo on the beach in Crete. Yeah.
No. You need to explain this more. You drink stuff that people don't know.
I think a Hugo, it's like a mojito, but with the elderflower liqueur instead of the lime and stuff that goes into a mojito. It's very delicious.
Because mojitos are very common. They had their heyday back when Bahama Breeze, that chain restaurant, was like up in everyone's favorite place to drink on Saturday night with their friends. Guilty. But that place actually got me into mojitos and coconut mojitos and dark rum. And oh my God, such fun drinks. So to do them with elderflower sounds like such a great thing. Yeah.
It's delicious. But it's one of the big things you get in the Mediterranean, along with like Campari spritzes and.
Yeah, you act like I've been to the Mediterranean. I'm from Chicago. I've been to Florida, Canada, and Mexico. That's as Mediterranean as I get. And New York.
We'll give you a taste of it today, then.
Yeah, no. But as much as I love talking alcohol, you have books that we would love to talk about. So tell us about the series, the title, everything, because I am becoming someone who's titles don't roll off my tongue right now. Intimate ties.
Intricate ties.
Intricate ties. See, this is why I don't say shit anymore. I just let people talk because I hear words, I mess them up. When I go senile, no one's going to know. No one's really always been like that. Intricate ties. Intricate ties.
Yes.
Listening. I'm a horrible host.
No, that's totally fine. It's a little bit of a pun, dual meaning, anyways. Intricate ties, because one of the main themes in the early books is shibari, which is Japanese rope bondage, and then also just kind of as the relationships progress, the main couple moves into polyamory, and intricate ties kind of being the bonds between people as well. It starts out, and so Tyler has done 2 books for me so far. They're kind of a duet novella. It starts out with Seeking His Command, and then the second book is Held in His Command, of one and the other MC, and they just kind of the process of them meeting, falling in love, and beginning their relationship. The premise is that Miles, our first main character in Seeking His Command, is a recovering alcoholic, like I mentioned. There's been some trauma in his life for various reasons. It's not just the alcoholism, and his sponsor says, "Hey, I've had some friends who really just found that they found a lot of peace in being able to let go and set aside all of your responsibilities and just let someone else be in charge. You should maybe think about finding out about submission." And he does. He goes to a paid professional, which is Darren, my other MC, and things end up being not so professional.
I have noticed that within the male on male romance genres, because I do a lot of other work in the publishing industry, that is a theme where the therapist or the person who's meant to be professional ends up being not so much. And I find that fun because I think everyone at some point has wanted to bang their therapist. So it works. So Tyler's shrugging and rolling his eyes. I think his husband was once his therapist. So I want to take this to Tyler for a moment because Tyler is here and you've brought your narrator along.
Yes.
How do you find doing these books? Because you have to create voices. The whole process of narrating, for anyone who's never done it, it's not as easy as people think. There are people who you just read the book. Can you give us some insight? You laugh because you know that for every hour of listening time, there's hours of production that go into it. Can you give the listener or the watcher, if they're on YouTube, some insight into the process of making an audiobook? And I'm going to mute myself so you can talk.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Gosh, I started this in October of last year, so very, very new and green in the space, but I have over 20 books out, and every time I'm still learning pacing and working my way through how to just say the words on the page with the right emphasis on the right syllable to get the right emotion out in audio, as opposed to just reading it on the page. I think that's the biggest part of it. And then creating these characters. So you have a dominant character who is also a very openly queer character, and so that he has a lower voice, and he's going to be I have to talk from my chest down in here for Darren, and he's very rumbly in that sense. And then Miles, you see on the cover, he's strong, he's very muscular, he's very timid and nervous and recovering, and so his voice is softer, and it comes from up here in my throat because he's so unsure of himself so often, and he has to struggle, and he has that air just doesn't quite come out all the time. And creating those characters took a bit of time of practice with AE on the line. Like, no, not quite, or over here, or then we finally found it, and you can just start to get into the character. But you have to pause so many times, like, no, Darren wouldn't say it like that. No, no, that's not how Miles would say that. And the performance side of it is so much more involved with the self-directing than you might think from hearing the finished product.
And Mike, oh no, you talk. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, I did find once we landed, Tyler is a very intuitive performer, in my humble opinion. He'll often go things, and I believe they call the term discovery narration now, where you don't necessarily do a ton of pre-reading because you want to actually be able to let your authentic reactions empower your performance. And that was how he hooked me on the whole idea of doing audiobooks at the beginning. Was a very, cold read, authentic performance, watching him fall in love with, my characters and my writing, and myself realizing that it was a lot more than just reading a book and falling in love with that amazing aspect here.
Can you repeat that last sentence for me? You cut out for a second.
Oh, so listening to Tyler cold read, watching him fall in love with my reading, and myself falling in love with the performance aspect of audiobooks that I wasn't aware of before was what landed us here in making audiobooks.
Audiobooks is it can be a very expensive process. Some narrators, especially if they're newer, and I'm not saying you're newer after 20 books. I don't care if you've only been doing this a month. If you did 20 books and you did them well, that's experience right there. So you might say that you're newer to having only been doing it since October, which is whatever the hell that is, 8 months now. I can do math. But 8 months is more experience than 99% of people on the planet doing audiobooks. So there is that. Just like writing, and this is weird. There's some statistics with writing I want to throw out here for you. Most books never sell over 100 copies. So if you sell over 100 copies of at least one book, you are in the top 10% of authors worldwide.
Yes.
That is a scary statistic considering how many authors there are.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find it, and I'm not ignoring you, AE. I'm just trying to do something different right here because we don't get a lot of narrators on this podcast.
Oh yeah, I brought him for a reason. Please.
Yeah. So fine, we're going to ignore you for a while. No, I'm kidding. Tyler, when you're doing, because the voices that you just demonstrated for us are very different. When you're doing dialogue and it's going back and forth, and maybe even with a more intense scene where the dialogue might be a little faster, do you find it hard to either switch between the two voices seamlessly, or do you find where sometimes you're like messing, I don't want to say messing up, but like you're reading in the wrong character voice? Like, how do you do those scenes where you need to go back and forth?
I just dive right into it. If I know the characters at this point, right? Darren and Miles, I've done 2 books. I'm working on the 3rd. I have their voices and their profiles in pretty well. So most of the time when I mess up, it's because I started reading something, and because, as she said, it's discovery reading, and I don't have it highlighted, and I don't, that it's blue for green, blue for Miles and whatever, green for Darren or something. I'll just start reading in the wrong voice because I missed the cue on the page that said Darren said or Miles said or something like that. So I go, that isn't it, and I go back and I redo it, punch in the correct voice. When I'm doing a lot of new characters, and I'm like, all right, wait, who's saying what now? Because you have to follow that dialogue tagging in the book. I know a lot of listeners in audiobooks are like, oh my God, can you not have this he said, she said all the time? But if your narrator didn't have that, they wouldn't know who said what half the time.
Well, to the point, though, of listeners who are like, why do we need the he said, she said when we hear the voices? Amazon's Audible and other audiobook sites will take down your book if the narrator does not read it verbatim as written. So anyone listening who goes, God, I hate that he said, she said all the time. If it's in the book, he has to say it, or the narrator has to say it. So yes, Tyler Locks or any other narrator must say that, so you might hate it, but we have to, or they have to.
Part of it, I believe, is to enable a really incredible technology they have called something on your Kindle and you're also using Audible. You can actually have the narration along with the text, and it's meant as an accessibility thing for people who are either like ADHD or need kind of that both visual and written cue at the audio cue at the same time, and it breaks if it's not verbatim, and that's one of the big reasons why I'm investing in audio as well as an author is I really believe in that accessibility access and bringing my work to anybody who wants to get sexy.
Get tied up and wax dripped on them. Yeah.
Yep.
let me ask you this.
With some hot men.
As an author, there is the temptation. I'm going to use some words that go with erotica. Temptation. Yes. There is a temptation of using AI for narration or using AI to write, but that's not what I'm caring about right now because I know you don't. There's a temptation of using AI to narrate because it's cheap and free and there and available. Why use someone you have to pay?
Well, you get what you pay for, obviously.
I love you so much.
And if it was just for accessibility, I could see using something computerized, but that exists already. You have screen readers, and AI doesn't give you that same human interpretation and that same human performance. Like, it's an art, right? Like, I think that obviously we won't be able to escape from AI, but I see ideally our future is going to be like Star Trek, where things like AI take away the difficult parts of life so that we can focus on things that make us human, which is our creative arts. So I would never, like, it would just be a waste of everything to do creation, and I wouldn't be.
I no. I appreciate that because I am staunchly anti AI, especially generative AI, and I understand that like spell check is technically AI and blah blah blah, but we all know when we're talking about AI, we're talking about the generative AI and the fact that there is that. To the themes of your book, because your books talk about and talk about intimacy, and in the notes that I'm given, gentle care, intimate care, aftercare. It was something about a gentle aftercare. Okay, can you explain that? Because a lot of erotica is that, or books in general that involve sex, not even necessarily erotica, but books that involve sex, generally, here's the build up to the sex and then the next scene. You know what I'm saying? So what is aftercare for the listeners and the watchers that don't know?
Well, at its most basic definition, aftercare is essentially how you ensure your partner's well-being after kink, especially, and that is both partners. Subdrop is what you hear about most of all. Once you've been through a really intense situation, you can, have a mood drop or endorphins drop. But dominants also encounter that as well, especially if they've been really putting on a very quote unquote cruel persona in the course of a scene. So making sure that you're both physically well, warm, tended to, healthy wise, if there's any kind of lingering injuries, well hydrated, but also just emotionally supporting each other and checking in and making sure that you're not thinking the wrong because of that. From a literary perspective, these books kind of came out of a couple of things for me. My first marriage, which is fortunately, very, very long ago, a good decade and a half, my wife was, whether she meant to or not, emotionally abusive. And, when I read some choices of literature that feature BDSM, very famously, I don't know if I'm allowed to name and shame, but I think you can probably get, has to do with some colors. What I yeah I know what a lot of people
that laughter there, yeah.
yes, yeah. a lot of people in the kink community, really have concerns with that book because it shows it in a very negative light. And there's room for those fantasies, of course, and we read to enjoy things that we can't enjoy in real life. So thinking like, oh, if my wife or my spouse is cruel to me, that it's BDSM, it's okay, right? I wanted to give a balance so that you can go and read all of those dark, traumatic romances, but then you can also come and have this experience where your characters are always going to be safe. You don't have to worry about the third act breakup. They're going to support each other. They're going to be exploring kink in a way that helps them grow as individuals, especially with the initial scenario with Miles. And just really utilize erotica in writing as kind of a way to not just titillate, but progress a character-driven narrative and a relationship-driven narrative.
Okay, so you said some. I do not write. I do not read erotica. Okay, yeah, no, I don't write it. I didn't think about. Well, okay, in the publishing industry, there's very strict standards as to what qualifies for erotica and not. And you could say words like cock and have no sex scenes, but if you say it like 5 times, the publishing industry is like, oh, all of a sudden it's erotica, and I'm like, no, it's not. But the publishing industry has their standards.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said something, and if it's too personal, let me know. We don't have to talk about it. But you said something about your ex-wife, first ex-wife. That was assumption. That was an assumption there. You said something about your ex-wife where you said whether or not she meant to be abusive or something like that. You said,
yes.
That is, and there's some. Okay, God, I am fucking drunk. It's just like a double closed gin, but I had drinks earlier because I've been recording all day. That is something that I understand. Not that not that words, choose them carefully. You may have to eat them. Some people may see that as almost being an apologist, where, oh, she didn't mean to, but having lived through it, having experienced it, and I don't want to label anyone as a survivor or this or that, because we all choose to view our own realities as we view them. Why say that? Because it's almost like you're on good terms with her now.
Oh God, no. Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is that, as an individual, she just wasn't very emotionally intelligent, and so, this was done intentionally to manipulate and hurt me, as opposed, this was just a person reacting in the only way they knew how because they just, were not emotionally intelligent enough to be able to deal with conflict in a healthy way. We're, human beings are selfish and we are animals at the end of the day. And if you aren't able to reason and calm yourself, you do things emotionally sometimes that you wouldn't necessarily do in a more rational situation. That's kind of what I meant by that.
No. If you see me writing, it's because I'm taking notes, because God knows I can't fucking remember what I want to ask, so I have to write it down. I have so many questions that I'd love to open up on and ask you about, but I want to ask you this because you write a very realistic take on BDSM and kink and stuff like that. But at the same time, reading is meant to be an escape. It's meant to be escapism to a point. And I write very realistic books. Even my monster books and everything like that are very realistic takes on them. And you write it seems like you write very realistic takes on the BDSM lifestyle. Why do you feel it's important to be realistic in your takes while still providing the reader escapism in that fantasy of the books?
Well, I think, yeah. Beyond the Yeah, drink more. You know, beyond just wanting to obviously give people a message that BDSM can actually be very like healthy and positive, because there are a lot of people that would maybe benefit being able or explore those things, but maybe think that, oh, if I do that, I'm a go, or I just want to hurt people, and I could never do that. That's not true. That's not true. There are very, very healthy ways to explore any kink. I think in terms of literature, I don't actually. I still very much consider my books escapism because they provide something that is not necessarily idealized, but something that's always going to make you feel good. Relationships are messy in real life. People break up, people have issues, especially once you start going with polyamory. I think that being able to step away from the stress of whatever is happening in the world, whether that's politics or your job or a death in the family, and just go to some place that's safe with characters who are going to love and respect each other and support each other, and then from that place of love and respect, explore some really fun place. And the response that I've gotten from my readers has very much reinforced that for me.
Okay, so can I ask you this then?
Mhm.
You're married. You've been married
Yes.
to a woman for a number of years,
Yes.
right? Okay. You're monogamous in your,
I am.
but I feel like there's a but under that. You're like, I am, but.
So I would say that if I was younger and had more social juice, we would be very open to polyamory. As it is right now, writing is where I put most of my energy. Dating is hard and messy, so I don't necessarily want to make my life more complicated with that. But we recognize as right, and a lot of times, especially in kind of heteronormative relationships, you see this unhealthy relationship where the couple decides they have to be their everything, especially for men who've been told that they're not allowed to be physically affectionate with anyone other than their wife. And it just puts so much pressure on the marriage that it fractures. So when you're realistic with your partner about like, what do we actually want from each other? What are we equipped to give each other, and what can we maybe think about doing to be different and to have other needs met elsewhere. I think that's where you can really have, like, whether it's through polyamory or making smutty books on the internet, really add a lot of positive longevity to a relationship.
Okay, so we are all three of us are married, and this is about as diverse a podcast as we can get without including people in open marriages, unless Tyler hasn't told me something about his marriage that he didn't mention backstage. But for anyone listening who's somehow skipped ahead or hasn't, Tyler's got a husband, A's got a wife, I got a wife. Jesus Christ, am I drunk? I got a wife, she's got a wife, he's got a husband. So it's about as diverse as we can get here. Tyler, I want to come back to you because you've been silent for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Also monogamous?
Yes.
Okay. No. This is okay because I'm leaving somewhere. It's going to take me a while though because my word skills. Have you ever been in a poly relationship, or are you not poly at all?
I've been invited in my past to participate as with open couples, but I wouldn't put it under the term of poly.
Okay.
Simply because that was more one and done type invitations as opposed to a regular ongoing.
Yeah, no, threesomes aren't poly. Threesomes are just fun for a night. Yeah.
So exactly. I mean, they can be fun for some people. I don't know. I've tried. Shouldn't be saying that online. But maybe I should.
No.
It's very,
you know what?
to get the inspiration to be a smut narrator.
And that's okay. Here's the thing, and AE, you brought up a good point, and I want to touch on it because you said that especially within the poly community, jealousy can rear its ugly head. My paraphrasing of what you said. Shit. Where did I want to go with that? Do you find that being not being do you find that jealousy is more common in poly relationships than it is in monogamous relationships, or is that a misconception of the monogamy world of polyamory?
That's a good question. And
Thanks.
I'm speaking in very broad generalizations because, most of my experience with polyamory has been anecdotal. I find that people who are successfully polyamorous um, are that way because they really, really value and not just value, but work towards open communication. Um, and so, if things stop working, the things that lead to jealousy, which are needs not being met, um, they're used to talking about them and kind of making a more rational decision. And I think you've kind of, gone into this. I'm going to share my partner. You've, at least to a degree, thought through how that would feel compared to a monogamous relationship, who's basically said you are it for me and so on and so forth forever. Um, that's my impression. Some people could find otherwise, though.
No. And that's what we can only speak from our own experiences, whether it's anecdotal experiences or lived experiences, we can only speak from our own. I mean, hell, we listened to Neil Tyson deGrasse about astrophysics, and he's never been in space, but we assume he knows more about space than we do. You know what I'm saying? So yes, his experience in outer space is all anecdotal, but we assume it's valid. So I assume, you know what I'm saying, that anecdotal experience is valid to some degree, that it's more valid than non-anecdotal experience.
Yeah, generally, as a sapphic who writes male relationships and a primarily monogamous person who writes polyamory, I just try and do my best to feel like I'm doing right by my gay friends and my polyamorous friends. And I've been very lucky to have people who've been very, open and forthcoming and sharing their experiences with me so that I can feed my writing.
You said something earlier I would like to touch on, because as the token straight man in this podcast, that was a joke. I said it very dryly. Thanks for the obligatory laugh.
We love a token straight man.
Yeah. You said something about how men aren't allowed to be affectionate except with their partner. And it's kind of what the whole fucking movie and book first, then movie Fight Club was about the emotions and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's coming to a boil nowadays. And we see it on the manosphere shit online right now, because I did an interview with a lady who actually talked about how the manosphere started as a place for men to, it started very opposite of what it's become, as a very positive experience for men to learn. And it's become this toxic, boiling cauldron of shit.
Yep.
But yeah, it's
disagreement there.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying it for you to go, oh, maybe it's not. I know it's fucking toxic. Yeah,
that is the perfect word to describe it.
Yeah. When I was in college, and I have to talk a little more than most hosts should talk for a second. I wasn't intentionally bad person, but I was a bad person. Relationship in college was very toxic. We were both verbally abusive. We didn't mean to be, much like you said about your ex-wife, whether she meant to or not. We didn't do it on purpose. It's just who we were. And then you have to grow and become self-aware and go, oh shit, maybe I am an asshole, and then want to change. In books, in life, people read to have escapism. But if they're only reading certain books that have to do with dull colors, they don't necessarily, I don't want to be sued. Yeah, wink, nudge. they don't necessarily realize that what they're then reading isn't realistic.
Exactly.
And so the escapism fantasy becomes something that builds upon false expectations of reality and stuff like that. So this is going to be a question that leads back to, in our green room, like it's fucking green nowadays. It's just a backstage. In the backstage, you said we shouldn't need, and I'm not going to throw you under the bus with this because people coming into this will be like, whoa. But you said in terms, I was like, hey, happy Pride Month. And you're like, we shouldn't need a Pride Month, but we do. And I get to say that because I'll be canceled one day anyways because of my mouth. This all ties together in a very roundabout way. The fact that we shouldn't need a Pride Month, but we have to have one because society sucks. The fact that we have to have this escapism that's so obscure and obscured from what could be realistic escapism, that you have to write realistic escapism. All ties together. So my question is, how does this weigh on you? And both of you, this is a question for both of you because you have to narrate this in a realistic way. You're not sitting here doing Gaston from Beauty and the Beast as one character and Jafar from Aladdin as the other. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to create these realistic characters. So now you're wondering how Jafar would sound as a gay character.
Oh, he basically is.
The way he did.
I love you guys so much.
Just sidebar, right?
There's an audience for this.
Codified gay.
Yes.
So you were saying.
But how does this weigh into you as a writer? Not as an individual, because an individual it's a different person, but as a writer, how does all of this weigh into you and the way you have to write to not come across as a caricature or someone who's writing something or narrating something that's not stereotypical or so unrealistic it'll get blocked in with those? I'm going to shut up.
I mean, I think I just, as much as possible, try and think about my characters as people, right? And it might not be the same for all writers, but I tend to consider myself a very empathetic writer. I feel who I write, so it's not like method acting, but I get into their headspace when I write Miles and when I write Darren, and so writing to me, I think, is almost a way to experience these things myself through putting them on the page, and I just think about it as providing a balance, to be room for those bodice ripping fantasies. They're fun. I've dabbled in a few things myself in the past, but being able to say, hey, there's options, so that however you kind of need to feel, whatever serves you and your purpose in that moment, you can find it in literature.
And
Tyler
how
and I
do you
talk.
No.
Well,
Continue.
Yeah. Well, I'm maybe going to turn this to a topic that Tyler and I often find ourselves talking about with people, which is MM romance versus LGBT romance or gay romance, and how you've kind of found that in both your reading and your narrating.
So what would be then, for the listener who might not understand, what is the difference, or for the host, what is the difference between MM romance and then the LGBTQ romance?
The difference is the authenticity of the characters, the representation of their sexual identities, the acts themselves. If I can put myself in the shoes of the character, then I see it more as queer romance or LGBTQ romance, right? I just use the blanket term queer, and it's that character has more of a complexity to them. There's versatility in the bedroom often, in different ways. There's a give and take. There's more of an open communication style. In romance, the wider romance that is not what I call gay or queer romance, is very strict roles in the bedroom, very top bottom, dom sub. There's no blurring of the lines. There aren't hookup apps. There's no cruising. There's no gay culture. Where's the drag queens? Where's they're going out to the gay bar? Like it's all very.
I don't want to necessarily say het washed, but it is a little bit straight washed.
Yeah, I've never quite come up with the term I want to say for it, but to me, it's very traditional.
Yeah, that's a good way.
Traditional. I think that's if.
Yeah.
So let me
hetero washed.
Yeah, let me boil it down for the listeners who are fanfic. Yeah, let me try and boil it down to the simplest terms because I'm good at that, or at least I think I'm good at that. And I might be horrible at that, and you're about to tell me. LGBTQ romance is the drag queens and the pride parades and the gay bars and everything like that, and the romance is date nights and sex on the bed.
Well, they can be outside or whatever, but it's very top bottom.
It could be very easily replaced with a female male.
The person receiving, and this one gets to me every time, and this is probably too much to share, but bottoms who are femme automatically because of their position in bed, completely unrealistic to the real world. So these kinds of tropes and these kinds of like stereotypes still persist in romance, and not in queer romance, which is so much more of a page turner for me.
And again, there's room for everything, but one of my favorite experiences so far with readers that start the second book and message me on TikTok or Instagram saying, your dom is a bottom, and they just they're so shocked and so delighted. Like it's such a delight for them because they expect something that's very rigid role wise, and then get this wonderfully nuanced, versatile dominant partner.
Well, I used to have a friend who was
that one too.
I used to have a friend who was a dominatrix, and she told me that in a true sub-dom relationships, the one with the absolute power is not the dom, but the sub. Simply because in a healthy sub-dom relationship, and I think this is where the manosphere gets it wrong, is that in a healthy sub-dom relationship, it's all play. You know what I'm saying? For what it is. And what the manosphere gets wrong is that it's play, and they want it to be real.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's a scene.
It's over. Yeah, and it's over. You go back to it because in what she said was a lot of the people that were her subs were the higher powered guys, the guys. The men who had the jobs that were high stress and high whatever, and they just wanted to let go, and this is almost a way of relaxing was this sub-dom relationship and stuff like that. So it is something that is not about control, even from the dom side. It's not about control. It's about giving the sub what they need.
Exactly. To relax, to get what they need out of it. You've honestly just described my dominant character in a nutshell. That is his profession, and all of his other clients are those rich, I need to relax, please take care of me and dominate me for an afternoon kind of scenarios. So yes, your friend is very obviously from experience true what she says.
Educated.
Yes. I haven't spoken to her in a number of years, but we were very I don't want to say it like we were close, but our conversations, as limited as they were very not casual and passing. You know what I'm saying?
I love friends like that.
So yeah, and she knew my wife. It wasn't anything like that. You know what I'm saying? It was just we worked a haunted house together. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like it was very is what it is. We are coming on time, and I hate it because I have so much more I want to fucking talk about with you guys. We are coming up to our time. So I want to say this. Tyler, are you taking on new clients right now for your audio? That's me segue from Dom Sub. Let's get back to what he does.
A different kind of client.
Yes.
For audiobooks.
I am taking on new clients now. I'm always open. You can find me Locks and Found Studios. So I'm incorporated. I am a studio. I help authors like AE on the third one. We are collaborating on expanding access to Royalty Share Plus options while still having a multicast production. So continuing to help make accessible, good quality audiobooks available for indie writers. I obviously am very much into the queer romances, so bring them on from the own voice perspective. But I'll play straight if the right character's there.
I'll play straight, I guess.
I love sci-fi fantasy. I'm working on Rowan June right now, which is by Tamara Henson. It's a YA novel, so not everything I do is smut, just 99%.
Smut is fun, and smut sells, folks. Smut sells.
It does.
My wife is
audiobooks.
Funny anecdote. My wife is currently writing a cookbook, nonfiction. Here's a bunch of recipes and pictures. Cookbook. Someone commented on her fucking Instagram, "Oh, if you want to make money, you have to write erotica." What the fuck do recipes for cupcakes have to do with erotica? And I was just like, God damn it.
Wow.
So,
how are the cupcakes being served?
I'm not, Dick. No, I'm kidding. I did not say that.
Is the donut
God,
challenge?
Drink some more. I'm gonna right. Okay, you know what? You write smut, you read smut, and I'm a straight guy. So let's have this talk for a second. Let's talk about the ring toss and male penises. I am not saying I'm fucking like whoever John Holmes, that guy with the world's largest penis. But if you can toss a donut on someone's penis, go see a doctor. That penis is
just pencil.
It's,
right?
yeah.
I mean, like, how big is the donut hole? There's a.
I love you guys so much.
Just.
You can't.
I mean,
we
love men of all shapes and sizes. You
But-
got to work with what you got.
I do understand it's all about the motion in the ocean and not the size of the ship. But
Okay, that's
on the
not
same
entirely
note,
true.
it's not entirely true.
You got to be able to reach the spot.
Because okay, in a very crude sense, and it wasn't meant to be. I always knew the term. It's not the size that counts, but you don't want to be throwing a hot dog down a hallway.
Yeah, heard that.
And it's a very crude way to say it. And she's going to laugh now and tell this to her wife afterwards.
I love that. Yeah, she'll have a good laugh.
And
Right.
well, because as a straight man, you learn it in a very crude way. Because you learn it from the straight man's way of, I was throwing a hot dog down a hallway. And it's like, no, because it's not about that at all. But if you're playing with the tic tac, ain't no one getting the satisfaction from it. And it's just in my mind, unless it's what you enjoy.
Why you
This
gotta
is
get
why
creative?
toys exist, and
Yeah.
and there is a wide world of options to still satisfy your partner.
Thank you. Oh my God. I am part of the Amazon Vine program. And oh my God, this is me drunk having to tell you this. Amazon Vine is an invite only program where you get like free stuff and then you have to like write reviews for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So me and my wife look through it every night just to see what's in there, see if anything fun is there. Last night, a pocket pussy came up on my fucking Amazon Vine.
Ooh.
Let me tell you what I'm not ordering. Here's the thing. I don't judge. Do what you want with things. I can understand dildos. I can understand dildos. Straight men, straight women, gay women. I can understand dildos. For the love of fucking all that is holy, I cannot understand the need for a pocket pussy when KY jelly in like a plastic Ziploc bag exists. I just don't understand. I just don't understand the need for it.
That makes
The
me
power
feel
of
better because
sensation.
as a woman, I have always been very sad that I'll never know the glory of a pocket pussy. So if you're saying it's not all it's jacked up to be, pun
I've
intended.
never used one.
Okay,
Wait, he has though. Hold
Tyler?
on. Tyler, talk to me right now.
they have different designs on the inside that create different sensations. So from a variety of ridges, nubs, etc. If you get overstimulated from certain types of stuff, you're not going to enjoy it. But if you enjoy sensation play, you might enjoy one.
That's why I feel like I'm missing out.
Yeah. It's more about the inner design of it. Some of them are just sleeves, but a lot of them are like nubby or something.
Okay.
So it feels different from.
See, I try not to judge, and I don't judge, and it's just one of those things where it's like pocket pussies. I was just kind of always like, I don't understand the.
But then you gotta make sure to clean them up. You know, you got. I mean, now it's a cavity
A lot of work.
situation. Like,
and that's the thing.
So
it's a cavity
think
situation.
About upkeep and aftercare.
Yeah, you can't just let it get crusty like a sock on the side of your bed in college.
No.
What face you just made, A. So okay, it is Pride Month right now. It is the beginning of Pride Month. It should air during Pride Month, I'm hoping. Should fucking air during Pride Month. I don't know. I don't know when these things air. But it should air during Pride Month. So you said behind the scenes, and I would like you to expand on this. Because we were talking, and for anyone listening, there's a bit of a background here I have to give. I said not caring and caring can often be the same thing when they're done with the same intentions. And I said this because I have a cousin who's trans, and they go by a name now. And I'm not calling out my cousins on this, or even, I'm not calling out, but I'm not blasting or I'm not saying anything about anyone related to my family. They go by they, them now, and that's fine. And to me, I'm like, I don't care. That's their name. It's that simple. It's just, there's nothing to care about. It's like, oh, I have to wash my hands after I pee. It's what you do. You call them by what they want. And you said, AE, we have a Pride Month and you appreciate it, but we shouldn't need it. Something along that line.
Yes.
I'm drunk.
Yeah, I aspire for the day. Oh, yeah. I mean, same with any other kind of Black History Month. It's there because it's an equality that's missing. It's a level of fairness and empathy and caring about people that our world sadly just doesn't have. And so we make a month to bring attention, sometimes to protest, especially in times like these. That's kind of where the do we need a Pride Month or not comes up. In an ideal world, no, you don't, because it doesn't matter who you're married to, it doesn't matter who you love. Everyone, can go about their lives and love equally and as happily or miserably as they choose.
Thank you, because in here, and this is going to be a long roundabout way because I'm drunk and can't be succinct in my words. That's why I write and have my editor tell me to fucking cut things back. Earlier you said about communication and men and straight marriage and all that stuff. And it's true. Before my wife, I was a guy who would blow up phones 30 times a night when they were out with other friends. You know what I'm saying? And I was a horrible, horrible human being. And then I met my wife, and I did it once to her. And she said, you either trust me or you don't. And if you don't, we're through. And there were no excuses. There was no, oh, baby, I wasn't doing it. and we've all heard it. We've all he does. So, what was that? What was that? What was that, Tyler? You did something. Yeah. What was that?
It's. I agree.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
silently cheering.
Because we've all heard it before from people, and it does nothing to alleviate the suspicion and the stress. And she was just like, you either trust me or you don't, and if you don't, we're done. And it flipped a fucking switch in my head. And my wife is my best friend.
So
And I feel very lucky because I don't think people talk enough about what a good, healthy relationship, whether it's straight or gay or is that even the proper term? Queer? Whatever, dude. I don't fucking know. I'm drunk as shit right now. It's whatever your relationship is. If it's healthy, it has to have the communication that AE mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
we talk, and we're not each other's everything because she needs her time away from me. I need my time away from her. It's not because we don't love each other. We do love each other, but we are individuals.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Fuck, I was going somewhere with this, and then I got really drunk. I was going somewhere with this. Pride Month. This is why people love this show, is because they just want to see when I lose track of what I was talking about.
Where's that?
Damn it. Where was I going with this, AE? Tyler, where was I going with this? Talk to me.
At some point, you're going to tell me to pimp my books again.
I was going to. Holy shit. That was like 10 minutes ago. And Tyler started pimping himself. And we were talking about things. You know what? I lost track. Here's the thing. For the listeners, it doesn't matter what sexual orientation you are, as long as you're in a consensual relationship with someone who has a fully formed medulla oblongata, or whatever part of your brain forms last.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's consensual,
yes.
Be happy, be good, be nice to each other, and be open to communication. I was going to go on for another fucking hour with you guys talking about things because I love you guys so much. You guys are my new BFFs. But yes. AE has to talk about her books and pimp your books. I'm muting myself. Pimp your books. And your.
I will absolutely. So there's two main projects that I will talk about really quickly. The first, of course, is Intricate Ties. Tyler's holding up his omnibus, though I just released discrete covers. So for those people who like to read on a bus without shirtless men being shown to the world, I have some very beautiful, tasteful artwork available for your print book needs. The series itself is currently 4 books. They're all novella length, so they're really easy to kind of just pick up and enjoy in 4 or 5 hours. It's not a huge commitment. Same thing with the audiobooks. It's an evening with a nice drink, alcoholic or otherwise, in a bath, and Tyler's wonderful purry voice, just keeping you company. The spices. All audiobook narrators spicily. Tyler definitely gives his all for me. I appreciate it very much, and I think you will very enjoy it if you check out his work. And then the 6th book will be out sometime in the fall, and that's where we really get going with the polyamorous relationship. You've kind of watched Miles and Darren fall in love. You've watched them build a family together in the first 4 books, and then in the 5th book they start exploring. Basically Darren saying, "I dominate you, and it's really special to me, and I understand that because of our dynamic, even if we switch, you aren't going to feel the same way that I feel when I take care of you, and I want that feeling for you. Let me teach you if you're open to it. Let's find someone that you can be this kind of caretaker for." And that's what takes them into their polyamorous relationship. They end up with another marriage, and I'm very excited for people to meet them. The other project that I'm working on right now, which Tyler is also tangentially involved with, his studios definitely, is a romantasy. It is a grumpy pirate times himbo merman, genius himbo merman fantasy book that is coming out at the end of July. It's called Silverfin. It also has a dual narrated cast. We have a wonderful female narrator friend actually called Lulu Soul, who is taking on the bulk of the narration and the merman character, as well as there's background sapphics in this. So if I don't usually write sapphics because it's a little bit too close to home, it makes me shy, but I managed to write it for her. And Tyler is going to be the other main male character, the gruff and grumpy Captain Hawk. So yes, that in
Yes.
audio and
Okay. Hold on one second. I had to hit pause.
so those are the main projects I'm working on right now. You can, of course, find all of my work on Amazon. Jeff Bezos, unfortunately, owns us indie authors for many reasons, but the good news is if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can just binge all of it for essentially nothing for the price of your subscription. Audible is where the audiobooks are, so we have the first two out right now. You can listen to them at your leisure under Seeking His Command, Held in His Command. We expect the third one, which is Sharing His Command, will be out at the end of this month on Audible, end of June-ish. And there's so many amazing female narrators. I have to check them out. And I, as a writer of MM, felt really bad that I could never work with any of them. And Tyler was like, why? You have all these female characters in your books. Like, all of your men are empowered by strong female women. Why don't we just have some girls come in and do like a session? And so we're starting that next week, which is really, really exciting. And that will probably be how we go forward with the books for Audible. And aelemercier.com, my website, is probably the best way to find anything and everything about me. I have a free audiobook there as well. It's a little half-hour long short story of some ancient Roman smut, starring Tyler and a gentleman named Vic Fraser, who is delicious. Very rumbly, very, very wonderful. You can get it for free if you sign up for my newsletter, as well as a couple other free heat romance books.
All right. For anyone listening, for anyone watching, you already know how to spell her name. You can see it below. For anyone listening, A.E. Lemercier is spelled A-E, obviously. Lemercier. It's French, so it has the I-E-R at the end of Lemercier. So remember to spell it properly, Lemercier. I am drunk and still spelled it right, which means you can type it properly. Tyler, one more time, because it's been like 20 minutes now. Where is your website?
You can find my website. It's my studio, lauxandfound.studio. So LAUXANDFOUND.studio. That's where you'll find a listing of all my audiobooks. You'll also see information for Timothy Found. That is my pen name for the poetry book that I put out this year. And because people like AE have inspired me to continue, start writing and get back into it again, I had to create Timothy. And you can find all the books that I've done for AE, of course, on Audible, along with the other 20-some audiobooks that I've produced, with more coming. We were just talking backstage about, I think I have 4 I'm producing this month. So, but I couldn't remember if there was a secret 5th one. These things happen. So, yeah. Keep watching for audiobooks and continuing to expand the cast on those. So more duets, more duels out of Locks and Found Studios.
The last thing I will make Tyler pimp is you can find at his webpage the sign up for First Page Club, which is an incredible initiative that he started and graciously allows me to help with every week. It's meant to connect the authors and TikTok lives. So any author can go, you can sign up to have the first page of your book read by a narrator. And you can use that obviously for promotional purposes, but it kind of helps you meet narrators and network and just experience a little bit of that audiobook magic, I guess.
That is wonderful. Remind me of that when we're backstage, because I'm drunk and won't remember.
Yes.
I normally only have writers, authors, wordsmiths wordsmiths on my show. Don't drink when you're doing podcasts, Elsie. Jesus Christ. One piece of writing advice you could give. I normally only ask writers, but I'm going to ask something similar to you, sir, when I'm done with her. So, one piece of writing advice you can give to an aspiring writer. What would it be?
Write what you're in love with something, no matter how weird it is. Someone else is going to love you, and even if they don't know that thing, that passion will shine your writing. That's, I think, the best thing you can do for yourself as a writer.
That's wonderful. I like that. Short, succinct, and to the point. Tyler Locks, we're coming back to you. As a narrator, because I'm going to talk to you later about your author stuff, but as a narrator, what is one piece of advice you can give to an aspiring narrator? Because I know people who are like, I want to narrate books. I'm like, no, you don't. What are some? You understand that joke, which is great. Only like 5 people can understand that joke. What is a piece of advice you give to an aspiring narrator?
Your voice is unique to you. Don't try to be someone else.
Okay, you know what? I never had people expound upon their advice. I'm going to have you expound upon that, because you said don't try to be someone else, yet they have to be characters. So what do you mean by that?
By that I mean I'm not going to try and mimic Mike Myers if I'm going to play an ogre, right? I'm going to be myself. I'm going to do the performance that comes from me, and we can coach and we can practice, but it's still going to be my voice. I might modulate it some, but it's still going to be my voice. And your voice is not Mike Myers' voice, and it is not my voice, and it is not, the greats of audiobook narration, right? It is you, and so you have to be comfortable with that, and you have to learn to fall in love with your voice, essentially, and be okay with being you, in that.
You know, I end the show. I always end the show with, "It costs nothing to be kind," but I'm going to end it differently tonight because you inspired me. A man who is younger than me inspired me. Why? Because children should be both heard and seen. I'm kidding. He's like 40 years old. He's a man. I'm drunk. I get to make jokes. But no. He inspired me. So I'm going to end the show on something different tonight. But I do want to thank both A.E. Le Mercier. I'm going to say it with a slight accent there because I can at least attempt to.
Of course.
And Tyler Locks of Locks and Founds .studio. Studio or studios? Plural or singular? Studio. Singular. This is what happens when you drink, is you just add plurals to things that don't need plurals. Locks and Found Studios. And that Locks is actually spelled Lauxand, not an ampersand. Found .studio. A.E. Le Mercier. Again, it's Lemercier. I am staring at her name on my screen as I spell it because God knows I can't spell anything right now. But I want to thank both of you, Tyler and A.E., for being here with me tonight. This has probably been one of the longest episodes I've recorded, and I've had so much fun and don't want to end, but I have to because I have time limits. And we're well past that. But for everybody listening, I want to thank you for joining us here at Drinking with Authors. Like, share, tell people about it, make us famous, find us some sponsors so we can get some more money and make this far more professional than it is. I love you all. And until next time, I said I'm changing it up. Be unapologetically you. Don't ever be anyone but you. I love you all. Until next time, be good. Everyone, I'll see you later. You two stay around. And that, oh, wait, no, wrong button. God, this is what happens when I'm drunk.
Thank you for listening to Drinking with Authors. Join us next time for another fun conversation with an author over drinks.